Betty White was more than just a beloved actress. She was an icon. She wasn't just a pioneer in the entertainment world. She was a symbol of joy, resilience, and timeless humor. From her breakthrough in television to her legendary roles in shows like The Golden Girls and The Mary Tyler Moore Show, White's career spanned over 70 years, touching the lives of generations of fans. Her presence in Hollywood was like a warm hug, a constant reminder that laughter is a bridge across all ages. But Betty White was more than her iconic roles. She was a woman who laughed often, loved deeply, and brought an authenticity to everything she did. Whether it was through her comedy or her advocacy for animals, Betty made us feel like she was our best friend, our neighbor, the person you could always rely on for a smile. Her passing left a hole in the heart of Hollywood, one that won't easily be filled. The world lost an icon, but her legacy of laughter and compassion lives on, echoing in every corner of the entertainment industry. Betty White was born on January 17, 1922, in Oak Park, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. Raised in a middle-class family, White was a natural entertainer from a young age. With an innate sense of humor and a deep love for animals, she was a performer at heart, even before stepping into the spotlight. Her love for entertainment began in her teenage years, when she appeared in school plays and dreamed of becoming an actress. But in the early days of television, the industry was still in its infancy, and few women had made a name for themselves in the field. Betty's career began modestly, with roles in radio and small television parts, but her unmatched charm and quick wit made her stand out. Her big break came in 1949 when she became the first woman to produce and star in a sitcom, Life with Elizabeth. This was groundbreaking for a woman in a male-dominated industry. Over time, Betty's versatility allowed her to excel in various genres, from comedy to drama, and she became known for her endearing yet sharp-witted roles. Though she was best known for her work on sitcoms, Betty's range as an actress and her love for her craft allowed her to move easily between mediums, from television to film. Her warmth and humor resonated with people everywhere, making her a household name. Betty White's rise in Hollywood was nothing short of extraordinary. She began her career at a time when opportunities for women in entertainment were limited, and she had to work twice as hard to prove her worth. Yet with a combination of unparalleled charm, quick wit, and infectious enthusiasm, she became an indelible part of the fabric of American television. In the 1950s, White became a pioneer in her own right, joining the cast of The Betty White Show in 1954. But it wasn't until the 1970s that she truly broke into the public's consciousness with her role as Sue Ann Nivens on The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Betty's portrayal of the sweet and manipulative Sue Ann earned her an Emmy Award, but it also showcased her ability to balance comedy with sharp-edged sarcasm, something that would become her hallmark throughout her career. In 1985, Betty White cemented her place as a television legend when she starred as Rose Nylund on The Golden Girls. The show was an instant hit, and Betty's portrayal of the naive but lovable Rose earned her several more awards, along with the adulation of millions of fans. The show, which celebrated women in their golden years, broke stereotypes, and was a cultural touchstone for an entire generation, it also solidified Betty White as one of the most beloved and respected figures in the entertainment world. As the decades went on, White's career only continued to thrive. She appeared in a wide range of shows, from game shows like Password to comedic roles in films and television series. Betty was one of those rare stars whose career only seemed to flourish with age. Her charisma and charm were ageless. She became a living legend, loved not just for her talent, but for the way she inspired others with her joyful spirit. But it wasn't just her roles that made her so iconic. It was her genuine love for the industry, her unwavering commitment to her craft, and the fact that she was always willing to evolve and try new things. Betty White, as much as she was a star, was also a trailblazer for women in Hollywood. She proved that age was not a barrier to success. In fact, it was an asset. Behind every great success lies a sacrifice. And for Betty White, the cost of her extraordinary career was steep. While she achieved iconic status and earned the love of millions, the price she paid was more than just the typical demands of fame. Betty's journey in Hollywood was marked by personal sacrifices that few ever saw, and she bore the weight of those sacrifices with the grace that defined her. The first cost she paid was personal relationships. Betty White's commitment to her career was unwavering, and she often put her work above all else. Though she had a rich and fulfilling personal life, including a long marriage to TV host Alan Ludden, her relentless dedication to her craft meant that she often had to sacrifice time with loved ones. Her husband passed away in 1981, and though Betty often spoke fondly of their marriage, the emotional toll of losing someone she loved deeply affected her. The demands of her career kept her busy, and the loneliness that often comes with being an icon was something Betty quietly faced throughout her life. The second cost was the physical and emotional toll of the industry. For someone who was constantly on camera, Betty White, despite her unflagging energy and enthusiasm, faced the strain of performing well into her later years. She was tirelessly energetic in every role, but the pressure to remain relevant, particularly in an industry so youth-obsessed, was immense. Her career demanded constant reinvention, from sitcoms to game shows, from hosting to acting in film. While many people would have burned out, Betty's ability to maintain authenticity and joy for her work was a rare gift, but it was also exhausting. Her later years in the spotlight were filled with the knowledge that while her legend was secure, the physical cost of decades in the public eye weighed on her. The third cost was public scrutiny and criticism. Throughout her career, Betty White was loved by the masses, but fame often invites harsh judgment. As a woman who was openly authentic, she was sometimes criticized for not fitting into traditional molds, especially as she got older. In a time when many women in Hollywood were sidelined as they aged, Betty remained vibrant and visible, refusing to let age define her. Yet this came with a constant need to prove herself worthy of the attention she received, despite her long-standing success. It wasn't always easy to maintain her spirit and drive, and the public eye often magnified her flaws instead of focusing on her achievements. The fourth and most significant cost, however, was her own peace of mind. Betty White was a relentless optimist, but the strain of a lifelong career in the entertainment industry left its mark. She once said in an interview, "I was never supposed to be the leading lady, but somehow I kept landing those parts." While she found joy in the spotlight, it was often accompanied by the exhaustion of living up to the demands of her fans and the expectations of the public. Betty White's legacy is not simply defined by the countless TV shows she starred in or the laughter she brought to millions. Her legacy is deeper. It is about the joy, the resilience, and the authenticity she carried with her throughout her long career. Betty White showed us that aging is not something to fear, but something to embrace. She broke down the barriers for women in entertainment and proved that age is no obstacle to being vibrant, relevant, and inspiring. First, her legacy as an advocate for animals is unparalleled. Beyond her roles as a beloved actress, Betty White was a tireless advocate for animal welfare. Her lifelong dedication to animals led her to work with various organizations, and she helped to raise awareness and funds for rescue operations and conservation efforts. In fact, she once said, "I am the luckiest person in the world, not just because of my career, but because I've been able to help those who have no voice." Her compassion for animals will live on, as will the numerous lives she helped save. Second, her impact on television and comedy is undeniable. She opened doors for women in Hollywood, showing that they could be as funny, sharp, and nuanced as any man. Betty's performances were filled with honesty and humor, and her sharp wit was a defining feature in every role. She was loved by audiences for her warmth, but also for her ability to challenge the norms and break down stereotypes. Her legacy in comedy continues to inspire both established comedians and rising stars. Finally, Betty White's personal legacy, the way she lived her life with joy, kindness, and humility, remains her greatest contribution. She showed us that it's not about how old you are, but how you live. Her unwavering optimism and love for life inspired those who worked with her and those who admired her from afar. Betty White's legacy is timeless, etched in the hearts of everyone who was touched by her work, her kindness, and her remarkable spirit. Betty White's story is one of joy, humility, and unwavering love for life. Though she has left us, her spirit remains woven into the fabric of American entertainment and the hearts of her fans. Her work transcended the screen. It was about making others feel seen, heard, and above all, loved. She taught us that laughter is timeless, that kindness has no age, and that every moment is worth cherishing. Betty's smile was never just for the cameras, it was for the world. Her laughter still echoes in our memories, and her legacy of warmth will live on in the hearts of those who knew her and in the many lives she touched. In her passing, we mourn not just the loss of an icon, but the loss of a remarkable human being who exemplified the best of us. Betty White's legacy will continue to inspire us to live with humor, grace, and an open heart, and to remember that life, no matter how long, is truly what we make of it.